Hello everybody! Welcome out to another Dice Tower Q&A live. That means that we're live, and anything that I mess up on is going to be messed up on the internet forever, and no one will make fun of me for it. My name is Chris Yee, if I haven't said that, but it says it right there. That's me, Chris Yee, pushing the meeple out the boat. How's it going, everybody? A lot of good chatter going on today. So once we get started here, once I see some questions kind of rolling in, I'll start answering them. That's what we do around these parts here. In fact, let me check the chat early just to see if there's kind of anything going on here. People talk about some games they're excited about for 2022. That's right, the A-Team, starring. Well, I don't want to say starring myself, but is going to be Camilla, Wendy, Roy, and myself are going to be doing our top 10 anticipated games of 2022 on Thursday. And then, let's see, we got a couple we'll have some more Q&As going up this week. Just kind of easing some stuff to prep for the Kickstarter launching next week. We're pretty excited about it. There's teasers of great promos and stuff going up. If you follow us on the Facebook page or on the YouTube channel itself, actually, we're trying to post little teaser things. I hope that y'all are enjoying the dinosaur pics. Dinosaur little pictures. All right, I see some questions rolling in. I'm going to stop tooting horns here. Let's start answering some questions. Jason asks, Chris, how do you like Llama Land? Asking as a Phil Walker Harding fanboy. Yeah, Llama Land is really good. In fact, I'm going to be covering it in my rapid fire roundup that I'm going to have going up either this week or maybe over the weekend or next week. Basically, what I say about Llama Land is I like it. If I had not played Baron Park or Gingerbread House before, which are two of my favorite games, which I own, then I would probably really love Llama Land. But it feels a bit derivative. But I mean, also, come on, like, Reiner Knizia is derivative of Reiner Knizia. There's a point where, Stefan Feld is derivative of Stefan Feld. And so, a lot of designers hit that point. So I think it's all right. All right. How does it feel to be the Punisher of the Dice Tower? Look, I think that it's less of a punishment. I think it's more of an enjoyment. But people can say what they will People can say what they will. Doc Chills asks, knows that I'm a Golden Knights fan because I'm from Las Vegas. Go Golden Knights. Who's your favorite hockey player? It's got to be this cliche answer. I was a kid in the 90s. I had instructional tapes from this hockey player, Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky is just, it's like saying my favorite basketball player is Michael Jordan, or my favorite, swimmer is Michael Phelps, or something like. I know that it's so generic, but if you were around watching hockey at that time, and as long as you didn't have a major grudge against the LA Kings, Wayne Gretzky was a pretty exciting guy to watch play. And so, all right. Anyway, the short answer, Wayne Gretzky. But there's so many good ones, too. Even from that era. The 90s, I think, was a fun hockey era. All right, seems to me, let's see. Interesting. So this question by Mary Mama Bear. Seems like the 2021 top 10 lists, and on other channels, too, are very diverse this year. Was there less clear standouts than 2021? I think last year, right, you saw games like The Crew just explode and were huge everywhere. This year, one of the things that Tom did was he did a top 10 reworkings video, right? We reposted that from the Winter Spectacular. And I think that you'll see that like a lot of really great games, super hot games, were kind of second editions or reprints or kind of redevelopments, like The Crew. Amazing game. One of my favorite games from this year, The Crew 2, Mission Deep Sea, or Kemet Blood and Sand. And those are games that, I think some of those that kind of stand out a little bit are also reprints a bit. There's also always the issue where a lot of games come out at Essen at the end of the year, October, November timeframe, don't get as wide of release, and so, we'll see if Ark Nova just really, really explodes this next year, and if it's more of a maybe more of a standout game for 2022 instead of 2021. We'll see, because I think all of us who've played Ark Nova liked it a lot. Tom more than the rest of us. Ooh, here's a nice softball question. Just toss it up, and I'm gonna flub it. Ooh! Chris, what's your favorite part of working at the Dice Tower? So, oof, if I had to pick a single thing, it would be that, as generic as it is, the people are great. You know, I love working with board games. I love the fact that I get to review board games. I get to edit videos. I get to put my own little, slice of humor into things as I want. One of the things I'm working on right now is a behind the scenes of Tom's normal work week, air quotes normal, right? Because I kind of did one of my own. I'm putting together Tom's now. And I'm finding ways to put my own little touch on all that. I love all of that stuff, but really it's just the people. Tom is a fantastic boss. He's not paying... You hear that? He's not paying me to say it. And I love working with the whole crew. You know, Camilla and Wendy are in the office more since they've got some more responsibilities lately. Fantastic additions. Z, Mike, Roy, all of us here in the office, Kenny, we all get along in such a great way. And that makes or breaks everything else, right? I could be a boring accountant, and I was, believe you me, and if I had a good team, that really made the job a lot more satisfying. All right, I'm going to try to move along. I've been kind of verbose here. Any foods my family traditionally has for New Year's? No, the one traditional food that we do is on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve morning, sometime when we're going to make it kind of an exciting time. We do waffles with sausage gravy, and so it's kind of like biscuits and gravy, but with waffles, because waffles are very superior food. So that's kind of the one. So that's kind of the one thing there. Is there a surprise today? This baby. All right. Yeah, people mentioning some of the stuff they like. Great, thank you so much. I love all the positive feedback. It means a lot. And so hey, feel free to always compliment me. I will take your compliments. I'll even take them personally if you'd like. Chris, do you consider yourself the Mad Dog Murdoch or Face Templeton of the A-Team? Well, let me say, neither. I'm the... What is the name of the pilot? I forget the name of the pilot of the A-Team. It escapes me. I dig him. Are you looking forward to the inevitable A-Team Photoshop? Yes. Let me make that perfectly clear. Yes. Which game made this year do you think you will still be playing in 10 years? 10 years is fascinating. 10 years is really interesting to think about. I think about what game I'm playing from 10 years ago. I'm not playing Seven Wonders as much. I'm not even playing Dominion as much, and Dominion's one of my all-time favorite games. The game that got me into the hobby. But I think those are the big standout ones in my mind. A lot of those classic games I wish that I made more time for, but I still do pull out Dominion fairly often for more of a classic game, that we still own and we want to pull out and play. I like that one a lot. It helps that my mother-in-law really likes that one. Wendy's mom is instead of playing like bridge with the other old ladies at church and stuff, she introduces people to Dominion, so that helps, Oh, he's an interesting. Will you be reviewing In Too Deep anytime soon? We will get to it. And I know this is kind of the candid, Tom Vassell type response, but we've got actually a pile of really good games, and we're trying to figure out which of them we're going to be doing as Foursquare reviews, who's going to be handling what, and I'm not sure how we're going to be handling that one exactly. But, I mean, believe you me, if there's a big game, if we have it in the office, it'll get reviewed. It might even take some time, but that's all right. Oh, interesting. Yeah, someone's mentioning that I'm getting a little bit of audio clipness. Let me know if... One second, let me do something here. Hey everyone, everything's just fine. Everything's just fine. I turned off the microphone to readjust the mic because I personally hate it when someone's like, "Oh, my mic's off." Anyway, all right. Somebody throws out Mario Lemieux. Mario Lemieux is also a fantastic player from the '90s. I'm forgetting a couple more of them, but yeah, Mario Lemieux was also up there in my memory. This is an interesting question. Chris, how long is too long of a gaming session for you? What's the driest themeless Euro game you love? So the second answer is probably Hansa Teutonica. I think Hansa Teutonica is a really great game, despite the fact that the theme of the game is, hey, Germany existed a long time ago. Let's go there. Too long of a game session. There's no time frame, really. I doubt that I'll ever play a game of Mega Civ. So sure, everybody has a time frame. Anything where you have to have more than one meal in between, like legitimate meals, maybe 2 meals, right? I don't know. I've played Twilight Imperium a few times, and I like it. I think that it has an interesting arc to it, and so I care about that more. Whereas something that feels like it doesn't have such a dynamic arc, you know what I mean? Then at that point, an hour in that game is too long. So I don't know. Unfortunately, the big answer is really depends. Chris, what's the game that you would most like to try but haven't, and what's the reason that you haven't tried it yet? I've thought about doing a top 10 of this. Back when we did our podcast, Wendy and I would do a list like this every once in a while. We kind of update it and say, okay, what's a game that I've always meant to play? The one that comes to mind, I don't know if this is the most or whatever, but the game Santa Maria, one that Z touts quite a bit. I feel like that one's a really good game that I've not played it. It sounds like it's got a lot of the things that I like. I like Aporta games. I like dice manipulation and placement and grids. Love grids. So I'm going to go with that one and say, oh, I've never played that one. I really would like to at some point. But also, that's kind of what we do with our whole Ketchup-palooza series. So maybe that'll be a topic of top 10 at some point. Maybe that'll be maybe you'll see some of those games pop up in Ketchup-paloozas. Let's keep moving along. When you take over the dice tower, watch out, Tom. When you take over the dice tower, what's the first thing you will change? The first thing I would change is being in charge of the dice tower. I will revert rights back to Mr. Vassal. Now, I don't know. One of the nice things is that, yes, Tom makes a lot of final decisions because someone has to, but there's a lot of collaboration here. We do work as a team. We are pretty free to throw out ideas and stuff. And also, I have a lot of freedom to kind of do what I want. I mean, there are videos that I've edited for people and I've thrown up, and then 2 months later, Tom goes, "When did you do this? Why? How did that happen? That's really, hopefully I hope he finished the sentence with, great, that's really great." Other times he goes, "That was really weird, you do you," kind of a thing. But that's another one of my favorite parts working here is just that. It's just that. Like, I have very little oversight. I could put stuff into video. In fact, I'm doing something that I'm not telling Tom about for his little behind the scenes thing. And it's just a small, stupid little thing that I think will inject a teensy bit of humor and, and kind of break up just the flow of things. But I think that it'll be in a good way. And he has no idea. That's okay. Yeah. Here's the other thing. I will. Apparently, there's hockey talk with Chris. There's hockey talk. I'm here to talk hockey. Jojo mentions, Wayne Gretzky was also an Edmonton Oiler before he was an LA King. Did I say LA Ranger earlier? I think I said King. Hopefully. He was also a New York Ranger. I kind of followed him throughout most of his career. I think that he was an Edmonton Oiler before my time, before I started watching. But I would watch kind of like older clips of games, older games and stuff too. Back on VHS cassette. This is an interesting question. What game or games do you remember as being pertinent to you loving the board game hobby? I mean, I'm not sure if do you mean like older games and stuff? Like when I was a kid, I really dug Clue. And then 13 Dead End Drive. Being able to slam people into that fireplace and knock a statue over them when I was a kid, right? And then, like I said, Dominion, Seven Wonders, those kind of being some of the more foundational ones. Why I really love board games, why I'm where I am now. Those are kind of the big ones. Who's the best cook at the Dice Tower? Well, I mean, first of all, I'm going to say Wendy because, respect, mad respect. But also, she's a super good cook. But I mean, outside of her, that's a tough question. Tom has cooked a few things for us. Like we had a big Thanksgiving get together here, and he kind of took charge. He likes to cook a lot, but also, I don't want to speak much of someone behind their back, but Z is also a very good cook. I just haven't had as much of his cooking. What did you do before working at the Dice Tower? I was, my previous job, direct previous job, I was an internal auditor in the accounting department at Station Casinos in Las Vegas, which was a nice job. Before that, I worked for an accounting firm, one of the big public accounting firms that just kind of ship you off wherever, and I did my 2 years there. Public accounting is a grind, and it's miserable. It's miserable for someone like me. The reason I started doing board game stuff, like media and podcasts and our YouTube channel, our old one, was because I need some more of a bit of a creative outlet. And so, yeah, being stuck as an accountant, traveling off somewhere and working in some basement room, in the back. In the back offices of some big mega corporation, it's just not for me. Some people really thrive in it, and I have friends who, in my starting cohort, are now managers, and they're becoming like higher level people. And I just think, wow, you really shine at that, and that's so cool because that's not for me. So accountant is the short answer. My favorite Korean dish. Whew. I mean, just give me a big plate of kalbi and rice. Like that's, wow, that's so good. Kalbi or bulgogi, one of those two. I love going to Korean barbecues. I do love the whole experience, though, getting the side dish, getting the pickled radishes, getting the kimchi and the different, the greens a little bit, but like just basically just give me that spread, and that's my favorite. I love it so much. Favorite Simpsons episode, or few if you can't decide. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I have a single favorite one. I mean, a few great ones are pretty much anything with Sideshow Bob. I think that's such a great, oh, no. These tattoos don't say die, Bart, die. It's German. It's die, Bart, the. Come on, that's such a classic. No, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say, on record, before the judge, jury, and execution, that my favorite episode has got to be when Homer goes to work for the Hank Scorpio Corporation. There are so many good lines, and it's such a great arc to that. Oh yeah, Sally's Hammocks, yeah, that's on 4th Street. That's next to Hammocks R Us, also on 4th Street. In fact, anything in the hammock district, that's probably where you want to go get some hammocks. It's so good! If you've never watched any of The Simpsons, just watch that episode. I forget what it's called. In fact, I'm going to spend a minute and look it up, because I think it's that good of an episode. If Mjolnir is at the South Pole and Thor at the top, and he summons Mjolnir, would it go through the Earth or would it go around it? Speaking as a physicist, I will say that it will go around the Earth because... Next question. Favorite and least favorite parts of living in Florida? My favorite part of living in Florida is... I really like working at the Dice Tower, obviously. But I mean, in terms of like Florida itself, I think there's a lot of good outdoorsy things to do. Coming from Las Vegas originally, Las Vegas is unsurprisingly a lot of desert, and I think that it's so oppressively hot most of the year, or like a good chunk of the year. And so you want to go on hikes and you want to go kind of get away from it, but it's so hot everywhere. Now, Florida summers are no joke either, but there's a lot more of the year where it's really great to go outside. You can go kayak. We went kayaking in like December, early December, you know, and lest I sound braggadocious, I know that there's a major snowstorm wrecking the east coast of the U.S., and I don't want to come across as insensitive. So, but I mean, there are a lot of benefits. My least favorite part of living in Florida is the bugs, because bugs. I have so many bug bites over the course of a week. You know what I mean? Even now, I was like, oh, it's the wintertime. The mosquitoes and the other little bitey bugs will go away. I've got like 3 bug bites on my legs even now. Now, lest I compare myself, a martyr, you know, for the bug bites compared to being trapped on a freeway for 11 hours straight, I'll take the bug bites. All right. I agree. The chemistry between the Dice Tower staff makes it enjoyable to watch, makes it enjoyable to be here. Would not love it as much if that was not a genuinely good chemistry. And you know, even when Stephen Bonacore comes around, we all have fun giving him grief. But he's a you know, we like having him around. He's a good dude, and he enjoys being around us. We like being around him. We like making fun of him, even off camera. Believe you me, that is still there. So yeah, just in general, the crew and the extended crew, I'm glad that there's a lot of good, you know, goodwill and good favor between us. Paul Coffey is a name that I've not heard of in a while. You're right. Yeah. Mark Messier. Glenn Anderson. Yeah. Wow, this is really nostalgic for me talking about all these 90s hockey players. What are your favorite bone dry Euro games? I mentioned Hansa Teutonica before. I don't know if you would consider A Feast for Odin rich in theme. And I think that that's a disservice because, what is his name? Oh dear, oh me, oh my. I'm gonna look this up really quick. I know I said I was gonna look up something else, and I've already forgotten. But I want to credit this person. Feast for Odin, Norwegians. So obviously Uwe Rosenberg, very involved with, I mean, he's the designer of A Feast for Odin, but also Gernot Kopke, I'm not sure how to pronounce the O with the umlaut over it. He, the co-designer for the Feast for Odin Norwegians expansion, and he has been working for years now on some follow-up expansions for A Feast for Odin. He has done amazing amounts of research, copious amounts of research even, into just the theming and stuff behind all the decisions, and yeah, ultimately it boils down to worker placement game with a lot of spots and Tetris some pieces, whatever. But like if you read the stuff that's included in the appendix, or like the encyclopedia of Viking history in A Feast for Odin, not that bone dry actually. Dry for a lot of people. I'm trying to think of what else is really bone dry that I like. I like Cooper Island quite a bit. We reviewed that very favorably. And it's about stacking tiles out and placing workers and shipping contracts, right? I like bone dry Euros. It's okay. Do you have a sweet spot with theme to mechanics ratio? That's, I like a good theme. I like it when a theme is implemented in a way that it helps teaching the game. Let's talk about Feast for Odin for a little bit longer. Welcome to the Feast for Odin corner with Chris Yee. I think that game, even though it's, you know, it's mostly like a Tetris puzzle and too many worker placement spots and all that jazz, I think the theme is implemented in a way that while it's not, woo, Vikings, I think that it's done in a way that, hey, I get what's going on. I can trade these resources for other resources. Good, right? I can kind of, if I go into different types of shipping, if I gain war ships, I can do war actions. That part of the worker placement board opens up to me. If I get trading ships, the trading part of the board, those spaces open up to me, and thus different strategies and stuff. You know what I mean? Just little things like that. If your theme is comprehensible, it helps. learn and teach a game, despite the complexities of a game. That being said, whether a game has a super cool theme or not, that's fine. That's fine at best. So if I were to have a ratio here, mechanisms are going to be at least like 80-90% of what I care about in a game. You know, if on a completely binary spectrum of mechanisms, theme. Very low theme. Artwork and that other type of stuff. You know, yeah, all that factors in. Terrier Halo, thank you for asking. Have you heard of Brothers of Metal? More Swedish metal. That I'm going to type into a notepad right now, and I will be listening to them as I edit some more stuff later today. Brothers of Metal. Thank you for the suggestion. Will always take. Someone typed LOL, Chris. I'm going to assume that I've been funny this entire time and that's not about one specific incident. Let's keep a going. Anyone from the Detroit Red Wings of the 90s is awesome. They were a really dominant team, yeah. There's a reason that I was a Kings fan in the 90s and my brother was a Detroit Red Wings fan. And that still just kind of kept up, you know, until the Golden Knights came around. But hey, we could still have our old loyalties just a little bit. Oh, grunge or Euro house? I enjoy a lot of the grunge acts of the 90s. I'm less of an electronic music person, but there are artists that I do like. I think Daft Punk. I don't know if that falls. Yeah, I think that's Euro house, right? I like Daft Punk a lot, but I think I also like them as their career progressed. I think that's their last. Was Random Access Memories their last album? That's an album I can listen to straight through. I think that's really good and really just. It has a very good live feel to it. There's clearly humans playing real instruments with a lot of their house element that I really like. But no, I mean, I'm a grunge guy. Give me some Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and stuff. Great. Wendy and I were actually just making fun of Smashing Pumpkins. Are they considered grunge or are they alternative? Grunge is such a nebulous genre. Were you from Seattle? Did you live in the 90s? Do you own a plaid shirt? You're grunge. Alice in Chains basically sounds like a metal band, and Nirvana is calling themselves a punk band. You're grunge! Record labels. Steve asks, how do you get started working with the Dice Tower? I applied. I was unemployed due to layoffs from from just the events of the world over the last few years here. And this was a little over a year ago. I think it was November. I sent in my application, or maybe it was like late October or November. I sent in my application. They were looking for a new video editor. I showed them what I had done because of my experience with the podcast and our previous YouTube channel. And I don't know, and I'd rubbed shoulders with them before. Just Dice Tower West being in Las Vegas was an opportunity to meet Tom years ago. And I had contributed to Board Game Blender for a while. You know, so I don't know, just I had done some work. I had done some work in the hobby, and I don't know. I think that being willing to do some of those contributor things and whatnot was a lot of fun, first of all, but also helped hopefully build some inroads. But also Tom forgets a lot of things, and so it was more so Roy was like, yeah, I remember working with Chris, and Mike was like, oh yeah, Chris is good, and Z was like, yeah, Chris did Blender, I guess. And Tom was like, oh yeah, I guess he's been around. Maybe one day I'll find the true story out of everything, but yeah, that was kind of it. You know, just send in the application, interview process, a lot of stress, and then here I am. What's the last thing you completely changed your opinion about? That's interesting. The last thing I completely changed my opinion about. I like that. That is a very deep question, one that will require more thought than I will allot at this moment, because this could genuinely be the rest of the half hour. I think one of the things that I changed my opinion about that was a very strong thing is that I used to be very judgmental and opinionated about music. I still am, but I work really hard at not being, not gatekeepery, but just be closed-minded and elitist and stuff, right? So if you had asked me, even a few years ago, Chris, are you a grunge or Eurohouse person? I'd be like, grunge. But I've wanted to become more open-minded to music and appreciate that there's good music in every genre out there. When people say, I like everything except for blah, blah, blah. I like everything except for metal. I like everything except for rap. I like everything except for country. I think that's a fallacious statement. I think that the fallacy there is that there's good music that can appeal to pretty much anyone in genres like country, of which I'm not a big fan. But I've gone out of my way to ask people who are big lovers of that genre and say, recommend me some stuff that you think really stands out. And even amongst that, I won't like most of it, but I will find acts that I really enjoy. If you don't like country, I think you should listen to some tracks by Tammy Nielsen. She has a track called Texas, right? I've gotta love the size of Texas. It's just really straightforward. I love the rhythmic nature of it, the storytelling nature of it. I think it's just such a solid performance that even if I don't really love country music, I look at that and I say, that's a genuine performer, and I really like the way that she approaches music. Bam! That's something I'd change my mind about. Yeah! I've not played Cinque Terre with Mike yet. I would like to. It's on the Ketchup Palooza list. Unfortunately, with we've been prepping for the Kickstarter for a while now, and so we haven't been able to do as many Ketchupaloozas as we'd like, but that's something I would really like to keep going, because I enjoy a lot kind of seeing these other games that people enjoy. What was the best thing I ate over the holidays? Ooh, I don't remember. I feel like it was a dessert. I think I had a really amazing dessert. Now I'm embarrassed. I don't remember, and this is a food question. Ah! Who's my favorite Beatle? If we're talking like personality-wise, definitely Ringo. Good old Richard Starkey. Hey guys, I basically talk like a cartoon character. It's so great. His songs, every time that he performs songs, every time that he sings, you know, it's just poor Ringo getting, you know, stuck with the goofy cartoon stuff. I feel for Ringo. I really do. My favorite Beatles, songwriter-wise and everything, is probably George Harrison. I think that he had a lot of just, I don't know, he had a lot of talent, and I really like, I like the Beatles in general, but George Harrison. Would you rather have sand timers for fingers or dry wipe markers for toes? From a strictly utilitarian standpoint, dry erase marker toes, you know, I could functionally use those. Sand timers for fingers, what are you going to do? Okay, hold on. I will move my hand in an hour. Chris, have you played Ispahan? If not, when? Maybe after I learn the correct pronunciation of it, because I'm guessing. What themes get you the most excited? What themes do you actually feel makes it harder for you initially to get into a game? My least favorite theme by far is adult or after dark or whatever, but I don't have, once again, because I'm that 90-10 mechanical theme person, I don't know if there's a theme that really makes it hard for me to get into a game. Trains? Who cares, right? This is an economic game, I get it. Business or dinosaurs or whatever, I don't know. But I think the themes that really get me are less so themes, so to speak, but what I really like are impressive settings, and maybe we'll talk about that in our Thursday Top 10 Anticipated Games of 2022. What's my most anticipated movie coming out this year? I like Marvel, right? I do. And so, Multiverse of Madness, I think, 1, it's a great name. 2, I like Doctor Strange a lot. 3, after everything that they've been doing here, kind of teasing the multiverse, and then kind of pulling back on it, right? Every time that the MCU so far has been like, oh, the multiverse, kind of winding down, oh, the multiverse, we kind of fixed it, right? This one seems like it's just going straight full bore for it. I'm all for it. I also can't think of that many other movies that are coming out in 2022. If you throw out a bunch of movies and say, hey, here's a couple more, right? I'll scroll down eventually, I'll get to them, and I will let you know if I'm excited about those movies or not. But as for now, Multiverse of Madness. I don't know enough about Chronicles of Narnia, unfortunately. What game would fit in like a Chronicles of Narnia? I mean, I know there's the epic battles. I know that there is Turkish Delight. So maybe like a temptation game, right? Maybe just like a game wherein people stack Turkish Delight nonstop onto a player's hand until they finally say, "Okay, I'll join your evil forces." That's enough Turkish Delight to convince me. Bootleg and Corrosion, not yet. Not yet. I know that we've unboxed Corrosion, or it's sitting in the back in the unboxing studio, and it's one that we've all kind of looked at and said, ooh, man, Capstone knows how to make a good-looking game. Even when it's very brown, Capstone knows how to make a good-looking, very brown game. I am interested in Bootleg. Alexander Pfister is a highly regarded designer of mine. Surprise about working at the Dice Tower, compared to what I was expecting. I don't want to sound, I don't know. I had an idea, I had an imagination perhaps in my head of what it would be like working at the Dice Tower. And I think that ultimately there's just more free reign that each of us can kind of have on our own scheduling. We all work roughly the same schedule because we want to be there and kind of be able to bounce stuff off each other. But there is freedom. You know, if I say, hey, Tom, I've got a doctor's appointment or something, or hey, I've got this thing I need to take care of one particular morning. He's like, okay. You know, it's not like fill out the 7 forms in triplicate and make sure that someone's covering your shift ahead of time, because it's, I don't know, there's enough that we all do together, but there's also enough that we all kind of work in our own little zone, in our own little pocket. And so I think that just a little bit of extra flexibility compared to the corporate life, you know, obviously that was maybe the nice surprise. Any old games you played recently? One of my favorite games that we pulled out recently was not Teotihuacan, Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. When he painted the gears, they look fantastic. I love that game so much. And it's funny because after playing Golem, after playing we've got on the table here set up Merchants of the Dark Road. That's a review forthcoming. After playing Messina, right? Messina review, I believe, is going up today. Messina 1347. Wendy and I are doing that. After playing a lot of these games, Golem in particular, because it's by several of the same designers, Luciani particularly, that whole Italian design group. Playing Tzolk'in, I was like, this game feels small. Just component-wise, setup-wise. All that's the board size, you know, it's not just this gigantic, it's this board that you put in the middle of the table, and every player has a player board, which is basically how much corn it costs to feed your workers, you know. Instead of a board, a player board the size of a normal Euro game board from 10 years ago. And playing that, I just thought, this game feels small comparatively, but like so crunchy and so good. I love Tzolk'in. Ooh, I like this. Slap Shots and Slapstick with Chris Yee, a hockey podcast. I'm not knowledgeable enough about any sport to be able to speak very much, but at most hockey, perhaps. Someone said I thought Mike was the best cook at the Dice Tower. What is this? What is this rumors and hearsay being spread about? Mike, I don't know if he's actually cooked for me yet. Mike! Cook me! Food! Sometime. I needed to finish that sentence. I have not yet taken a jet boat ride through the Everglades, or a fan boat, or any of those things. I haven't, no. Chris, has Tom introduced the Chief to you? I mean, he has free reign to kind of come and go as he pleases through the dimensional rifts, and so far I don't know if there's just been a lot of good overlap time yet. I love Las Vegas. What's the most overlooked attraction there? Pinball Hall of Fame. Pinball Hall of Fame is genuinely one of my favorite things about Las Vegas. If you've been there, you'll know. And now I think they just moved to a bigger location that's closer to the Strip. Hopefully nicer, right? The place was a bit run down looking, but man, that dude kept the machines running and pristine, and also had a lot of old arcade games and stuff that I really like. What are your favorite movies, TV shows you can recommend? It depends obviously what you're looking for. We just finished watching The Wheel of Time, the first season. I like that a lot. Wendy's read the books. I have not. As someone who hasn't read the books, I was able to follow the story just fine. Hey, cool fantasy world. I like the stuff going on. I like the intrigue and the politics. Sure, right, a little bit of that. I like the magic going on. And I've just enjoyed kind of hanging out with these characters on their journey. We just finished watching Hilda, which is a kids cartoon show. I'll probably talk about that next time I host like a board game breakfast or something. If I'm going to do review other things. I liked Hilda. It took a bit to kind of get into, and then they just finished, instead of doing a third season to finish the story, they did a movie on Netflix, and that was great. Our daughter really, really teared up a few times during that. It was nice. Make kids cry. Do you play video games? Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild is probably one of my favorite of all time, but Mario Kart and Smash Bros. I'm a big Nintendo person. Roy just let me borrow actually recently the Link's Awakening remake for the Switch, and I am having a ton of fun with that game. It's super good. Let's see, let's keep looking for some nice questions here. In your opinion, who plays Spider-Man the best? I think Tom Holland. I really do. People have the pithy, or not pithy, but yeah, the aphorism that everybody says is that drawing a blank. Tobey Maguire was the best Peter Parker, and he was an okay Spider-Man. People say Andrew Garfield was a terrible Peter Parker, but a very good Spider-Man. And then Tom Holland. I just like that Tom Holland kind of does his own take on it. He's a little bit more insecure and geeky and stuff. But if you haven't seen the new movie, I highly recommend it. I think it's really good. I think it kind of shows why I like Tom Holland as a Spider-Man quite a bit, and I like where his character goes. That's great. Was it scary to move to Florida for the Dice Tower? No. I mean, Wendy and I were looking for adventure. Actually, we've lived in Vegas pretty much our whole lives. We served missions for our church, where I lived in Indiana for 2 years, and Wendy was in Maryland area for a year and a half to 2 years, and it was nice living somewhere else. And after living in Vegas for so long, I thought, Vegas is a good enough place that I could live the rest of my life, but also, as much as I like having a sports team, but also then, with the Golden Knights, but then you add in the Raiders, and then you add in just the growth of the city, and it's interesting kind of seeing it become a bigger city than it always was. And with that comes, oh man, all the traffic is worse and all this stuff, and costs keep going up. And so we just kind of decided, it would be nice to go on an adventure, try something bold and big, and do something different. And so when this opportunity came up, we said, hey, this really could be it. And so, mostly exciting. A little bit of scary moving away from family for the first time, but I've been loving it so far. Did you frequent the Mapleville Cafe often? Absolutely. That was Wendy and I's date night. We would go there pretty much every Friday. We'd drop off our daughter at one of grandma's house, her mom or my mom, and we'd have our Mapleville date night, and we'd hang out with Tim if he was there. And Tim, who does, you can see his videos on Mounds of Games. He runs Dice Tower West Convention. He also runs the Mapleville Cafe. I liked him a lot. He likes us, so it's really convenient. All right. This is an interesting question. Thoughts on Eman Drow Ruoff? I think it's clever. I think it's very clever. If you're not familiar, Shoots and Marbles, go ahead and watch those. Now, I will clarify that there is no Shoots and Marbles today, unfortunately. Just with a lot of the stuff that we're doing, especially this week, and especially for the prep of Kickstarter next week, there's just certain things had to be cut, unfortunately. There's just not enough to make Shoots and Marbles happen today. And I think that there's a few other announcements of things going on, but we're doing these Q&As, a few extra, and also there's some good videos going up, but particularly the Q&As are kind of make up for some of the lack of live things. Believe you me, this is a lot less stress and prep, especially the pre-prep, compared to, as you can imagine, Marbles and some of the other shows that we do. Chris, will the James Webb Space Telescope find strong signs of life on other planets? As an astrophysicist, I can assure you that I don't know. It would be really cool. It would be great. There's that article floating around about the NASA hiring a bunch of theologists to kind of discuss what will happen to people's religious beliefs. How will it impact general day-to-day life for people if we discover alien life, basically? And I say, bring it on. I, for one, welcome our new alien overlords. But no, I think that's interesting. I think that's an interesting point that's where we're at right now. It'd be neat, but I imagine finding signs of life by pointing a telescope and saying, hey, is there anything over there? I mean, you ever walked through like a forest? It's teeming with animal life. And you look around and you're like, where's the squirrels? Where's the jaguars? Where's the pumas? It's so hard to just like, and you're just pointing a camera and taking pictures and be like, was there a puma in this picture? And that's kind of what we're doing. So I don't think we'll take a picture of some spaceship, with a dude hanging out the windshield, be like, what's up? But it'd be great. I'm all for it. Oh, the chat. If you could add a game to the championship that's going to the board game World Series of Board Game Championship that's going to happen in Las Vegas, what game would you add? Because I'm a jerk, I would add Farkle. Just because I would love to see people, super competitive people, vying for a $20,000 prize, having to play this nearly pure luck dice game. It would bring a smile to my face. Even just the thought of it does. It really does. Are there any not so obvious places outside of the U.S. you want to visit? I mean, yeah, I guess obvious spaces would be like Korea. I'm Korean, right? My parents came from Korea. I've never visited, actually. Not so obvious places. There's a village in northern Canada that I would like to visit. It is the northernmost populated township or village, I guess not a township, it's a village, in the world. And I'd like to visit it because from there you can see the northern lights, but you have to look south to see them, and that would be a trip. I've also never seen the northern lights. I'm not a well-traveled person, by the way. What's the heaviest game that you're most comfortable teaching? Depends on how you rate heaviness, of course, right? But one of the games that I pride myself on being a pretty good teacher of is Brass Birmingham. I think that is a little bit tricky of a game to teach, but it's if you can organize your thoughts well, and I haven't taught it for a while, but I do fancy myself a good teacher of Brass Birmingham, and I'm very comfortable teaching that one. Would Lorenzo Il Magnifico be up there on your bone dry Euro list? This might come as a shocker to a lot of people, but I did not particularly care for Lorenzo. I found it to be just a little bit punishing, a little bit too tight for what I wanted it to be. Chris, do you do any voiceover work for animation? I would love to, but voice actor would be a great gig. But no, I mean, I haven't. It would be so fun. This is an interesting question, right? Not to get too personal. What do you do when you have a bad mental health day? And unfortunately, I'm an emotional eater, where I'm like, oh, that was really stressful. How many cheeseburgers do we have in the house? None. Let's fix it. But no, I mean, I try to just. I'm not an expert by any means, but like, I know what I need. I usually need some sort of like private time, but not slinking into a pit, and then I need to have some conversation time with Wendy and just kind of being able to hash out what's going on, and then from there we just figure out, like, I know when I need to be distracted from my own thoughts because I'm just tumbling down, versus I know when I need to address the thoughts and work on them because I need to work through something. I think that was a key thing for me, is just kind of learning to differentiate those two. I've not, unfortunately, not tried Coffee Traders. I'd like to. Man, the time really flew by today, and I kind of got long-winded, so I'm sorry if I haven't gotten to your comments near the end. I haven't seen the list of movies coming out, so I'm going to be going through these really quick. Do I have any games that I despise and the other crew love it? Onk. Moving on. Man, more hockey talk. I know, I'm disappointed too that Daft Punk broke up. I think it was last year. I was very disappointed, especially because, like I said, I've really loved their last album. That would be an interesting group to see live. I wouldn't watch a lot of Euro, or I saw a comment about Euro games. I wouldn't listen to a lot of like Euro house music live, but I would go check them out, I think. Top 3 favorite game mechanisms. I'm gonna go multi-use cards, income, and maybe worker placement. I'll go with those here. What instruments would each of the Dice Tower play in a band? I know Tom's a pianist, so he would be the as a pianist he would be the keyboard guy. I would be electric guitar. Roy would be guitar or bass. We'll stick Mike on the drums, and then Z would be the singer. I mean, obviously. Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins are more alternative than grunge. That's kind of what I thought, right? It's like I said, it becomes nebulous at some point. I've not seen Rush Cinema Strangiato. I haven't played any of those very popular, basically board games, but they're digital. I don't think I would Slay the Spire or any of those. I don't know. I've just been too busy with actual board games to kind of jump into it. Favorite dexterity game? I really like Tumbling Dice, perhaps. Also, I really like this very obscure one called Spinball. It's hard to describe. You were trying to use backspin on a ping pong ball to make it go to the other side of this board, this flat board, and sink it into like a mini golf putt-putt hole, but on the other side of the board. Go look it up on YouTube. It's really neat. It's a really dumb, fun game. Multiple people asking about Coffee Traders. No, I haven't played it. I'm sorry. I still haven't played it yet, okay? It's been 4 minutes. There's a couple of good questions in here that I'm going to skip over for time. Like, I really apologize. I try to be the one that keeps up on the questions the most. I'm rusty. What game mechanism do you wish was used more and less? I like multi-use cards a lot. I would like to see multi-use cards even more, even though I feel like there's a couple of good games that have been using them more. And then less, I don't know if there's a mechanism I'd like to see less besides lose a turn. Stop ever putting lose a turn in games. Black Panther 2, I'm genuinely excited, sure. Top Gun, meh. The Batman, I'm not convinced yet. You know, I don't know, it just... what's his bucket? Actor. I forget his name. The actor, the main guy playing Batman. He's a very good actor. People give him grief for Twilight. Unfortunate, right? But he's really good. But what I'm worried about is every scene in the trailer just looks like, scowl more. Scowl more. You know, I'm afraid of that. I'm not sure that the action scenes look that good either. When he's in the trailer, he's like walking up to 2 people, firing machine guns at them, and he's just taking them. Look, man, if you're firing machine gun rounds at someone, no matter how good your Kevlar is, you're breaking ribs. I'm not sold on it yet. I would like it to be good, though. Mission Impossible, fantastic. Avatar, I don't need an Avatar 2. Who decided on the A-Team name? I'm not sure. I don't know. Was it Mr. T? He's just the actor. He got brought on. But for us, we just kind of joked around like, well, you know, what's a fun thing we could call it? And it was like there's a lot of collaboration around here. I have bought way fewer games since working at the Dice Tower. I have bought maybe 4, and they're like My City, the Reiner Knizia Legacy game, because Legacy game, it's not available in the library. I bought Marshmallow Test because it's a really great family game. Wanted to play it with our daughter, and we didn't have it in the library. I'm trying to think what are the games I bought. Very few. There's very little need to, and I know that I come from a very blessed situation to be able to say that I can play so many games and not have to spend money on them. Bum, 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 bum. Am I doing Frosty the Snowman? Oh, that's funny, Vance. Do I have a favorite season or episode of this? And like I said, the Homer works for. That's what I was going to look up. Homer worked for Hank Scorpio. I'm trying to do two things at once. Hank Scorpio episode of Simpsons. That right there is probably a win. You Only Live Twice. Wow, yeah, that's right. Hey, I'm doing an okay job at catching up with questions. Only got a few left here. Ooh, hey, look, compliments that I'm shamelessly going to put on the screen here. Did you find being on the team shaping your view, appreciation, or fluctuation, your style of game now that you're... Oh, I thought these were compliments. Dang it! This is a question, I got to answer it? I thought he was talking about appreciating my view. I saw the word appreciate. Okay. Shaping your view, appreciation, or fluctuating your style of game now that you're seeing, processing more games and breaking them down. No, I think that I like a lot of the same games that I did before. I am simultaneously kind of the heavier, drier Euro game player, but there's also plenty that I still have a lot of criticisms of, especially when there's bloat, needless bloat, and complications, especially bad rule books. But there are a few standout games that I think are so mechanically fun that even despite all of it, like Golem, I had lots of issues, lots of reservations, but I still give it a 9 because I had that much fun with it. I think that, yeah, that those types of games still speak very much to me. And so, I don't know, maybe it's refined my taste a little bit, but not something measurable yet, demonstrable. I don't really have a daily hair routine. I comb it and I put some stuff in it. It comes in a yellow tube, that stuff. I think it's hair gel. Favorite board game artist? Whoo! It's so easy to say, you know, Tool. He does so much good stuff. But, man. You know, Tool. I know I'm forgetting someone. The Miko. I mean, I really like the whole West Kingdom and North Sea, like that look and that aesthetic. Some games it fits better for, but like for that particular line of games, whoa, it is so iconic. Nightwish, symphonic metal from Finland. Yeah, I've listened to some Nightwish in my time. I've never like sat down and listened to a whole album. If I did, feel free to recommend me an album. You can always email me at chris@dicetower.com if you have any music recommendations for me. I love trying to sit down and listen through an album if I can. That means that I'm, you know, especially if it's like kind of one of the best albums by an artist. If I intentionally can sit down and listen through a whole album, that means it probably speaks to me to some degree, and so I like that. If you recommend me a Nightwish album, I'll check them out. I'm doing okay. I am coming up here on time. But let's see, any few last interesting questions here. Yeah, we haven't reviewed everything that we unboxed, unfortunately. The Hungry Little Demons, that was a fun little thing. But yes, just to clarify, when Tom said in a review that it was someone's last review, yeah, that was definitely a joke. Rest assured, as far as I know, you know. We're all still here. I think he was probably joking about Bonacor. I think that he was, but that's just because we always give him grief. Fly over here, teach us brass, we'll show you the Northern Lights. Hey, look at that. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Robert Pattinson, yeah, that's the name of the actor. I'm sorry, yeah, I was like, not Edward Cullen. Don't say Edward Cullen live. Cycle back around to Simpsons episode, You Only Live Twice. Don't forget Gretzky played on a line with Brett Hull for the Blues. I should not forget that. That is true. Who's the best shuffler at the Dice Tower? I don't want to brag. I'm going to. In fact, I want to, but I don't want to brag. My father was a casino dealer for 30 some odd years in Las Vegas, and so ever since I was a kid, he showed me how to riffle shuffle the way that blackjack and poker dealers do. I'm not too bad at it. I've never done the bridge shuffle, right, where you take the card, you bend it, and then you do the little magic trick here thing that I've never gotten down, and then but I've always just been really hesitant of bending cards in general, and so I always do kind of a flatter riffle shuffle. You just use the thumbs and then push the cards together, and I think that I'm not that bad of a shuffler. Not that I wanted to brag, but it's me. I'm the best. So many great bands coming out from Northern Europe. I agree. So I think I've managed to kind of get down here to the bottom here. There's some discussion about Weird Al. Usually I can listen to a Weird Al album all the way through. Yeah, that's true. Oh, here we go. See some compliments. People know. Fernando knows how to compliment, right? So I want to say you're one of the best new guys at the Dice Tower. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that sincerely. And like I said, I'm just kind of winding down here. How do you like being a public persona on YouTube? Do you feel like a celebrity, recognized often? No. Oh, I can't emphasize just how little I get recognized. And I mean, I was still relatively new to the Dice Tower, even when like Gen Con happened and everything. And of course, masks at Gen Con make it harder to recognize people in general. But I mean, very little recognition. And I am not complaining because I am one of the newest faces. But it was very humorous to me how many times at Gen Con people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's Z! Hey, can you take a picture of me and Z?" And I said, "I sure can." And so I would grab their phone and, would I like my picture taken with people? Sure, whatever, right? But come on, it's Z. I want my picture taken with Z. I do. I want my picture taken with Z. And so I would snap these pictures of other people, Was there a twinge of jealousy in my soul? No. Because while they weren't looking, I was turning the camera around on their phone and taking pictures of myself, just taking a bunch of selfies. So they went home with a bunch of pictures of me, little known facts to them, until, days later when they're showing off. Like, look, I took a picture with Z Garcia. Ah! That is my gift. That is my gift to everybody else. Yep. So yeah, it is definitely time to wind down. Thank you all so much for coming out and joining me. Excited about Dice Tower West. Excited about, just excited about what the future has to hold here for us. Looking forward to meeting many of you at conventions. But don't forget that, 2 o'clock today, Camilla will be doing her first Q&A with a Dice Tower. So if you wanted to get to know Camilla a little bit more, feel free to join us then. Tomorrow, Wendy will be doing a Q&A. Her first as well, so you'll get to get to know her a little bit and see if you can corroborate the stories between her and I. See if I'm just a dirty, filthy liar or not. And then we'll have a few others this week as well. Thursday, make sure to come back for the 8-team top 10 anticipated games of 2022. And with that note, I'm going to end. And so I should probably remove this comment from the screen here so that as much as Scylla is awesome, but I think I want to sign off just me, because it's all about me. I need the limelight, is what I'm getting at. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming out. I see, what? Disagreement with me. Best Simpsons, always the Halloween episodes. They are great, but they're no You Only Live Twice. Or You Only Live Twice? Never Say Twice? What did I say the name of the Hey Scorpio episode was? Anyway, with that note, I'm out. My name is Chris Yee. Thank you so much for coming by the Dice Tower. Have yourselves a great day.